My name is Ashlyn Gomez, and today I will be speaking about a woman who has dedicated most of her life to fighting for the rights and equality of the LGBT community in Cuba, Mariela Castro Espín. Here on this slide are two current photos of Mariela. So here's a brief introduction. Mariela Castro Espín was born on July 27, 1962 in Havana, Cuba, and is currently living in Cuba at the age of 62. Castro is not only an influential public figure, but also a passionate advocate for human rights and social justice. As the director of the Cuban National Center of Sex Education, Castro has made significant changes in dissolving the antiquated stereotypes and ensuring equality for sexual minorities. Today, Castro continues to actively push the boundaries of cultural and governmental norms in hopes of creating a fairer and inclusive society. Here on the slide, at the top right, I have a picture of Cuba, and in the image there's a star locating her place of birth, which was Havana. I also included a LGBT community photo that represented the community, and I also included a picture of the flag. To understand the impact of Mariela Castro Espín's work, it's important to understand the significance her family had on her. Castro was born into a family that was deeply involved in Cuba's political life. Her father, Raúl Castro, who is on the left, is a retired politician. He served as the president of Cuba from 2008 to 2018. He was also the first secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba. Her mother, who is on the right, Vilma Espín, was a feminist who founded the Federation of Cuban Women. Also on the slide is an image of Cuba's flag. Continuing with her family, her uncle Fidel Castro, who is on the left, was the revolutionary leader who ruled Cuba from 1959 to 2008. Under his administration, Cuba became a one-party communist state known as the PCC. Her brother, who is on the right, Alejandro Castro Espín, is also a political and military figure in Cuba. Despite coming from a family so deeply involved in the Cuban Revolution, Mariela's path took a different direction. While her family played a vital role in shaping the political landscapes of Cuba, Mariela worked to break the mold by advocating for the rights of the LGBT community. Here's a brief summary of her early life. Growing up in Cuba, Mariela lived in a homophobic society where members of the LGBT community were targeted in terms of both law and societal standards. She stated that while growing up, she and her friends would laugh at gays and make fun of them. However, it was through her friends who were part of the LGBT community that Mariela gained a new awareness of the issue. These experiences led her to challenge societal norms and fight for people where they could live freely without fear and discrimination. So on this slide, I have a picture that says "Fight Hate," and that's supposed to represent the LGBT community fighting the hate that they received. I also included a picture that says "Raise Awareness," and that represents Mariela raising awareness to this issue. And then at the top right corner, I have a picture of her mom and Mariela when she was younger. And I include this picture because Mariela looked up to her mother. Her mother being a feminist and fighting for women's rights, Mariela wanted to do something very similar. And so in her version of her mother, she decided to fight for the rights of the LGBT community. In her professional life, Mariela's career has been transformative. As the director of the Cuban National Center for Sex Education, Mariela has revolutionized Cuba's approach to sexual education and LGBT rights. She proposed a change to the Cuban Family Code to support the relationship between two people, regardless of their gender. Her leadership led to the formation of a national sex education program, which was incorporated into schools across Cuba to promote respectful and healthy attitudes towards sexuality. Mariela has also worked to reduce the stigma surrounding HIV and AIDS by addressing the issue with sensitivity and courage. In addition to her many roles, Mariela has also served as president of the Cuban Multidisciplinary Center for the Study of Sexuality and president of the National Commission for the Treatment of Gender Identity Disorders, where she led campaigns to raise awareness of the struggles faced by transgender people. It wasn't until 2017 Mariela was able to establish May as the official awareness month for the LGBT community in Cuba. Mariela Castro Espín's advocacy for the LGBT community continued. In 2005, she proposed a project that allowed transgender individuals to receive free sex reassignment surgery and make changes to their legal gender. This project eventually became a law in 2008, allowing transgender Cubans to undergo sex reassignment surgery without charge. In 2013, Mariela was awarded by a nonprofit organization dedicated to LGBT rights for her efforts in bringing awareness about gender and sexual identity. In 2018, Mariela announced that she supported for same-sex marriage in Cuba. She called for inclusion of the issue and tougher sanctions of those engaged in the LGBT discrimination or violence. Through these actions, Mariela has stood up for the rights of LGBT individuals, often facing pushback from her family's legacy. So her personal life. Today, Mariela is a mother of 3 children. She was married to her first husband, Juan Gutierrez Fishman, who is on the left, from 1983 to 1989. And she had one of her children with him. And then she is currently married to Paulo Totolo, who she also had 2 children with. While her public work has been focused on social change, her family life has played a major role in shaping her understanding of equality and social justice. One interesting fact about Mariela was her willingness to challenge her own family's political history. Despite growing up in a homophobic society and under the rule of her uncle, who established policies that saw LGBT individuals as infectious, her commitment to the LGBT rights has placed her in direct opposition to the ideologies of her own family, proving that her fight for equality was personal. Overall, Mariela Castro Espín has shown viewers that even in the face of personal and political challenges, the fight for justice is worth pursuing. Her advocacy has not only changed lives, but has also inspired a global conversation on human rights, social change, and power of activism. Here is my works cited page, and thank you for listening to my presentation.